My favorite part of this band and how we write songs, I usually find myself in a bottle of whiskey and with the guitar in my lap, and I usually demo stuff out for the guys, and I send it over email, and I'm just like, what do you guys think? Maybe 3 or 4 riffs, like no sort of order, just all together in one big lump, and we'll come to practice, and Tristan and Ryan and Dave all have different ideas of how they actually pictured it. I demo out everything, like with drums and everything. I have this shitty keyboard, and I just play shitty keyboard drums on it. Ryan makes for me every fucking time for it. And because all I can do is like kick and snare. I do toms sometimes, but it sucks. Anyways, and I demo those the best I can. I'm not as good a guitar player as like say someone like Dave, so it's awesome to hear like one of my riffs and he'll take it and make it just this whole new thing. And I love just watching the guys. Like I usually just sit in the sidelines and drink beer and supervise, but I love watching the song come together, and I'll obviously pipe up if I need to at any point, but I love watching the guys like just completely come together and put the song together.
Jordan comes up with a lot of the song ideas, and that really keeps sort of our sound and our feel really consistent. He writes these awesome riffs with hilarious programmed drumming over top that kind of make us all laugh, and he has hilarious placeholder names for all of them, which will eventually see the light of day. But anyways, we get these demos at about 2-3 in the morning because of the shift at work that Jordan has. We get these demos and we're all asleep. We wake up the next morning, some stupidly named file in our inbox, and we check it out right away. And Jordan is 10 out of 10. Like every time, nails some amazing riffs. They're all kind of thrown together. They aren't really in any sort of necessarily logical order. It's just all of the riffs for the feel and tone of the song put together. But the band basically gets to dissect it. Then we get in a room, and Jordan, because he's sort of written the song, kind of gets the kickback. Watch the whole band, sort of interpret it, come up with their own take on it, really reinvent the structure of it, and then we put it all together. We piece it all together, and then we demo it. And when we demo it, then we can really hammer out every single note of the riff, the bass lines, where we sort of see space for any sort of electronic stuff or samples to really just add a new layer to the song. Eventually Jordan takes a handle on it. We kind of jam it out a bunch in the studio so that he can work on his patterns and melodies, and then he goes again, disappears, and then one night we get another demo at 3 or 4 in the morning from Jordan, and it's always like, I don't know how I feel about this, and I had one too many beers last night, so I haven't even really listened to the bridge or the outro or anything. And we're like, what's gonna happen here? Luckily, every time it's always amazing, and that's really how we write our songs. Then once we've demoed them, then we know when we go into the studio we're 100% prepared. We know what every part should sound like, and makes it really easy on the producer, who doesn't have to do much producing, more or less engineer, because we pretty much got the song style by the time we go in. So
we're pretty particular about how we write songs and how we kind of demo them out, and as not serious as we take everything else that we do, when it comes to writing music and demoing and getting everything prepared, that's something we take really seriously and put a lot of time into. After we kind of get a skeleton of the song, we go ahead and start demoing it. We use programs on the computer, so we record guitar, bass, everything else. I program drums. It's really funny because for the longest time I was like, I want to program drums, I want to do that. But I've really seen the benefits of taking what I kind of come up by myself with, and then go ahead and actually chart it out. It gives you a really good in-depth approach to what you're playing, and makes you think about really specific things. So that's been a really good thing, because once you do that, we kind of iron everything out, and then we go back and jam it. And usually during when we're jamming out as a band, towards there just kind of practicing things and going through, but it's really after we kind of set everything, that's when the vocals kind of get really set. So once we do that, we kind of get a final version at that point. We go ahead and review whether we want to add some kind of loops and stuff in, some more dynamics with synth or key stuff. That's something we're all a really big fan of, obviously done tastefully, of course. It's more of like an accompaniment as opposed to just its own part. And lots of times we'll go back to songs and you know, play it again after, you know, a couple weeks and be like, you know, are we still happy with this? Is this still flowing the way it should? Like, is this transition from the chorus to the bridge like, you know, where we want it to be? There's been lots of times we've gone back to a song after and just scrapped the entire part because we're just like, man, it just doesn't feel good. And that's a big thing for us, is playing the song, being like, this feels right, as lame as that sounds. That's such a cliche approach to it, but it's true. And also something, you know, can we reproduce this live? Can we give an accurate depiction of what we have recorded when we're playing it live? We don't want to be a band that's just studio tricks and that's it. So kind of what you're going to get on album is when you're going to get live. And
we kind of do everything. I use an Axe Effects just for ease of use. Easy to hook up to the computer, sounds good. I use Reaper as my DAW, just a variety of plugins, Waves plugins, Camel Audio stuff, really big on Native Instruments stuff for synth sounds and all the beeps and boops and twinklies. Go through all that. While we're doing that is when I come up with a lot of my guitar stuff, and it's where it gets to be really granular of exactly what notes are played, what harmonies are done, how much stuff is actually going to be on there. And then I make sure to write all of it out in sheet music so I don't actually forget how to play anything, and there's no questions, as we all have full-time jobs and we can't do the band every single hour of every single day. After that, we have a demo. We listen to our own band a lot because we're really lame, and then we hand it off to someone bigger and better than us to tell us we suck at songwriting and to learn to play our instruments better, and they make us sound awesome.
In Vogue has been awesome. They've just taken us to that next step where we never would have been able to get to before. We were just making our own videos and stuff, which I guess we still are. But they've been able to open us up to a whole different types of fans, and we were kind of a stalemate almost with where we were before In Vogue, and we were on the cusp of releasing Curses. And we ended up waiting, and it was a huge gamble for us. I remember getting the text from Dave and being like, I don't know if we should do this. We should just release our EP to, the 1,000 fans that we had at the time on our Facebook, and let's just do it. But In Vogue was just so great, and we don't want to change anything about our band. They liked what we did. They're just like, let's just put out this EP and let's see what happens from there. And so far it's really been really good reception. I don't think Shreddy Krueger will ever stop, really. We're writing right now, and I'm even more stoked on these songs than I was on anything on the EP. So we should be recording in the new year, and yeah.
We recently signed with In Vogue. They just put out our EP Curses, and it's one of those things that they've been fantastic. We've had a few different label experiences in the past, and I would say that In Vogue and Nick and everybody there has probably been the best experience we've had, solely based on that they're just after making sure that your music gets out there in the smartest way possible. You're happy with your relationship with them, and they just want to concentrate on making sure that any money and funding, that kind of stuff, is going to the right place, and that's something that we are really on board with. And even releasing Curses, we were just going to do it ourselves. We're going to put it on iTunes, maybe get a couple physical copies pressed and go from there. But Nick approached us and was like, hey, you want to put out your EP? It'd be a super low-key release. So once we got the details from them, everything seemed great, and it's been awesome so far. We've been able to get our music out more than we ever thought we could.
We have a lot of commitments. We have a lot of really tiny and really big things coming up in the next year. It's going to be really hectic and busy, but excited that it's actually happening. The whole signing to In Vogue was actually a massive, inconvenient gong show in the best way possible. We delayed the record. We accidentally put it up on iTunes for a day and a little bit, and hopefully nobody bought it. But yeah, it was all really last minute, which was super fun. Made it really exciting. And when we actually signed all the papers. About a month later, after reviewing some stuff, it was just go, go, go. Let's get this thing out. Pre-order stuff up, artwork done, master sent around, changed some things last minute, and it's out. Right now we're just writing, demoing. We have 3 songs recorded, probably looking at about 10 or 11-ish, depending on how much we can get done here. Hit the studio early next year, just working out flights. We've pretty much got our producer, engineer, all figured out. Just gonna solidify some dates and book the actual time here in the next little bit.
So, yeah, we signed with In Vogue Records recently. They're based out of Ohio. It's been absolutely incredible. When we first started discussing with them about what the label interaction would be like, the label really just wanted for us to just focus on being musicians, writing the best music we possibly can, and they would sort of bear the brunt of the rest. And I've been so stoked because from our signing to the release of the record, there was about a 6-week period where the label absolutely came through with everything they promised on. So that was super reassuring. At the beginning of any relationship, you're unsure, if your end of the bargain is going to hold up and their end of the bargain is going to hold up. So everything that everybody promised came through, and I couldn't be happier. So we're working on a brand new full length right now. The EP was just sort of the start of things, and as most people know, had been recorded and ready to launch for a long time. So we've already got a few new songs in the bag, and we're just looking forward to the new year. Probably in the first quarter of next year, we'll be sitting down and actually flying out to Ohio and recording our brand new full length. So can't wait to get that out next summer, see what the response is to that. Hopefully everybody enjoys it, and we'll go from there.